Okay, so how's everybody doing? I know you can't answer that question, but I hope you're doing well in these trying times, as they say. And before I get started, I really want to just thank Steve for holding all this together for these years of the pandemic because it hasn't been easy. It's a thankless job. He gets all these panicky calls like me today when I couldn't get Teams up and running. And if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have this meetup. And he's been doing it for 1,000 years, and it's a thankless task. And so, Steve, thanks for doing this. It's really fantastic, and it really helps keep the WordPress community in New York going. So tonight, I'm not going to do everything about WordPress 5.9. Most people here, I'm assuming, know that 5.9 rolled out a couple weeks ago, and it was a major release in the history of WordPress because for the first time we can now edit everything in our site with just blocks. That's a huge achievement, and actually phase 2 of the Gutenberg project. So this is a very brief little PowerPoint, so don't get panicky. This is all going to be PowerPoint. 5.9 introduced the 2022 theme, which is remarkable because it's one of the very first what are called block themes. And there are only about 40 of these themes out there right now, and they can take full advantage of full site editing. I'll get into that a little bit. Chances are you're not using a block theme yet, but I'm going to demonstrate one of the block themes tonight and what it can do. And eventually, I think many, many themes will either convert to a block based kind of theme. All right, we'll get to that in a bit. And of course, full site editing came with it, with the ability to change templates, add templates, and template parts. And I'm going to demonstrate that too, which is really cool because, as I've said, you can now use blocks to do everything in your site, headers, footers, sidebars, you name it. It's all block based, which was the whole aim of Gutenberg to begin with. Also, they introduced with 5.9 site-wide styling. Now, I have to say that this and 5.9 full site editing in general, of which this is a part, is in its embryonic state. This is the first iteration, so there's a lot of stuff that it leaves a lot to be desired, but it's a huge breakthrough, and we can now see what the future of is in WordPress as it morphs into a web design system. And you might be wondering if it's going to affect your site. Well, no. If you're using one of the old classic themes, in other words, like all the other themes that we've been using for years, now referred to as classic themes, it's really not going to affect your site as very little. You won't have access to all the features of full site editing. Okay. And along with the full site editing came a whole bunch of new and better blocks. One of them I'm going to demonstrate to you tonight called the navigation block to show you that you can use blocks just to make your menus. It's pretty cool. The one of the blocks that is not new but is talked about highly is the query loop block. It probably got some improvement here, but I'll show you a little bit about the query loop block. I'm not going to really get too much into it. And easier to find and use patterns. Okay, so patterns is definitely a big part of the future of WordPress and full site editing. So the ability to use pre-built stuff. I don't want to call it templates because it's wrong, but pre-built patterns and edit them and make them our own. So that's really neat. Okay, tonight's highlights. I have a few, but only a few. So how to create a menu with blocks, which I mentioned a minute ago. How to use templates and template parts. I will definitely show you that. And how to create your own template. Well, sort of. We're not quite there yet. I suspect that I know that's coming, but we're really not quite there yet. Okay. And this is me. And my site's Joy of WP. And if you're interested in training and the things that I'm doing, I'm actually relaunching my site. So you might want to get on the mailing list to see what's going on. And if you're interested in any of the early bird discount. Now, my new site will feature free and low-cost courses. Okay. I think that's it for the slideshow. Yeah. Okay, so let's have a look. And for that, I probably have to share my screen again, or let me see. I have to go back. Let's try this. Steve, tell me if this is working or not. Can you see my screen? Can you see the
No.
WP admin?
No.
Okay, so now I have to go back to the fancy teams, and I'm going to let's try. I don't know. No, not that. I don't want to show you that. It's really weird. The icons are not very representative in the tray. They're not real representative of what I can do or what I can share.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll get there. Desktop. Let's try that. Oh God, you don't see it. You do see it.
I see PowerPoint.
Yeah, you don't see it now, do you?
Yep, now I see it.
Okay, then we're good. We are good to go. And from here, we don't need any more rigmarole. We should be good. So before I get into like the demonstration, I always like to show the environment, like what I'm working with, so that you get up to speed and see what I'm doing. And I'm not taking you to the beginning of WordPress, because I've already pre-built stuff to save ourselves some time. And what I have are 4 different pages. And notably, the block page I've designated as the post page. In other words, the index page or the location of the blog archive. And then the home page is just going to be your generic home page. And I also have some posts. And let's see. So the posts are basically these colors over here. I did this based on the Crayola crayon. So you'll see that fancy artwork in a second. And let's just get to the really good stuff over here. Okay, so appearance. Now I am using, let's just take a look over here. I'm using this theme called Blockbase, and this was made by Automatic, okay? And it's really good. Now I could have used 2022. Both of these two over here are Blockbase themes. I think I mentioned there's only about 40 of them right now. It's hoped that there will be hundreds, if not thousands of these in the near future. I would suspect there will be. And one of the interesting things about using a block-based theme is if you go over here to themes and you go right over here, you can see, whoa, a couple of things are different. Number one, no customizer. Customizer is gone. Okay, so you don't need the customizer anymore. And so that's why it's gone when you use a block-based theme. If you're using a classic theme, you're still going to see customizer, widget, menus, stuff like that, stuff that you've seen all along. You'll barely know that full site editing is available. It's just not exposed unless you're using a block-based theme. And then over here, now it's funny, this theme left in the menus, the traditional menus option over here, but I'm not going to use that, okay? I'm not really sure why they did. Maybe they don't have any confidence in navigation, who knows? If you were to use the 2022 theme, you would just see the words editor, and that's it. Now, interestingly enough, I think almost any theme that you're going to use, any block-based theme, it's going to say beta. And that's a pretty good way to describe it. It's beta. It's not horrible, but it's not really what I would call perfectly there yet. It will be. Okay, so let's take a look before I do anything. So I clicked into editor, and let's look at the component parts. So this is basically what you're seeing here is essentially like the current template. I don't use this all that much because this is the sexy stuff over here. So what we have here are templates. Now, if you're familiar with how classic themes go, then you should be pretty much familiar with what you're seeing over here. In the past, with the classic themes, you'd have PHP files that would correspond to these different templates over here. And what's really nice now is that we can now edit and design our 404 pages. We can do search pages, all kinds of stuff. That's great. That's built in. Now, it's built into this theme, Blockbase. But chances are most, if not all of these would be built into the other block-based themes as well. Okay. And then you've got template parts. And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out like, I would look at this and go, what do you mean template parts? Well, essentially it's headers and footers. That is different headers that you can use or different footers. In this case, there's only one footer that you can use or, if you will, attach to one of the templates that you're using. Okay, so I'm going to start with building a navigation. All right, we'll give that a shot. And right over here, so I clicked into the site editor. It says page over here, so I want to know like what template am I working on? It's the page template. And so I'm going to take a look at list view. Now, if you're not familiar with list view, this is like one of the coolest things about Gutenberg, and it's absolutely essential that you work with it because you're going to be lost without it. It's, as a good friend of mine says, it's your best friend. It's your best friend when working with Gutenberg. I needed a little drink there. Okay. So what I have over here, let's just fold this up just to show you a little demonstration here. I'm going to fold this up, this up, this up. The main component parts of the site or this page is consisting of a header and a footer and then a series of 3 different group blocks in the middle, sort of like a sandwich, you know? And all I'm concerned about right now is the header. So I just wanted to fold that up just to show you, to make it a little easier to see what's going on. And now I'm going to unfold or open it up. And we can take a look at like how this is constructed, and as a group block and a row. And what I want to do is add navigation after the row. And that's the key thing. So I'm going to click on row, and I am going to click on the 3 dots over here, and I'm going to insert after. And it's got like a little, like type in a slash over here. Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to follow the directions. And I'm just going to type in slash, and then I'm going to type in navigation. And here comes the navigation block. All right. So the navigation block actually is just, in essence, a holder of the items that are going to be inside the navigation block. What are the items? Well, they're links or any other block. What do I mean? Well, let me show you. So I'm going to go. Now, here's where things get a little tricky. So I'm going to click on, I'm going to make sure I'm in the navigation block. Click on over here. And right over here, it says, what does it say over here? It says, yeah, add all pages, which in your navigation, which I don't want, or start empty. And I do want that. So I'm starting empty, and it's got this little plus sign over here. And I click on that. And this might look a little familiar because this is like the link tool that you've seen before in Gutenberg. And all you're going to do is just type in the names of the links. So I'm going to type in home. Now, how do I add another one? It gets a little tricky. Make sure you're in the navigation block. So I just clicked on that. This little icon here is the navigation block. And I get my little plus sign. And this time I'm going to type in about. And I want to make sure this is correct. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Actually, yeah, I'm going to type in this over here and type in blog over here. Okay. And then one more. So let's go back, make sure we're in that navigation block. Okay. Which is in the row block. That's what really this is. Okay. And for that, I'm going to type in contact. Okay. Make sure that's correct. Now, one more item I'm going to put in here. So those are my 4 pages. But here's the thing that I said that really is great because you couldn't do this before. And that is if you click on this over here and you click on this little button over here. Now we know we can type in, you know, pages and posts and whatever we want, but look down here. It says search. So I'm going to add a search tool right into my navigation. Okay. And now I'm going to save this. And I'm going to save it twice, but it's going to, you're going to see where it's going to attach. Let's see, header and header navigation. Okay, so let's click on that and let's have a look. And looks like I may be there already. Let's just see. Yeah, now it's not set up the way I'd like, and I'm going to try to fix that in a second. But let's make sure the links work. Home, about. Yeah, and that's good. And contact is good, and that's search. But I really want to fix this up a little bit. So let's go over here, navigation. And, you know, I probably should have put this in a row. So I am going to insert before. and I'm going to type in a row, right? Okay. And I'm going to move, I'm just going to take my whole navigation and I'm going to move it into the row. So I just picked it up and I think I may have gotten it. Yes, because now you see row, and inside the row is the navigation with the links and the search tool. So how great is that? So with list view, you can just maneuver the block. You can drag and drop the blocks if you want, but boy, this is just a lot easier. And with the three dots here, you have all your usual options with the three dots: insert before, insert after, delete, all that kind of stuff. So it's really good. All right, now I'm going to save this, and let's just have a look to see if it's right. Yeah, I must have gotten something wrong. All right. All right, but I'm going to leave it this way because you're going to see why in a second. I'm going to just change some things out. And this applies now through the entire site. So this is a single page. Here's the block archive, right? The block archive. And then if I just click on one of the posts, you're going to go to single post. So all three content types, well, I'm stretching that word there, are represented, and I have the navigation attached. But I want to make a totally different header. So here's what I'm going to do. So with that out of the way, we're going to go back to over here. It's a little confusing too, because you think when you click on the W, you're going to go to the WP admin. The only way you can go to WP admin is when you're in full site editing, is just click on dashboard, and then you're going to go. But I'm going to go over here to template parts, because I think this is really intriguing stuff. And I see that I have header and all these different parts, but you know what? I'm going to create my own. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to call it BK header. Okay. Now, currently, the way this theme is working is that you can add a template part, be it header or footer. And as time goes on, there will be other template parts that they will add on. Okay, that's one of the really cool things about these block-based themes, is that they're going to evolve and give you more options and eventually really let you do whatever you want. We're almost there, but not quite. Anyway, I want to use the header, and so I clicked on that. And I'm going to start with a brand new header. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is use a cover block for my header. So I'm just going to look for or find, let's just do cover. Okay, cover blocks over here. And what I want to do is go to my media library, good old media library here, and I'm going to use this image over here. Okay. All right, so that's my cover block. I'm going to make some adjustments right now. Go over to the cog, and I want to do two things. One, well, I don't want to use the paragraph block where I am right now. So I click outside, and now I'm going to be in the cover block. And I want to have a fixed background so I can have a parallax effect. And I want to have, right over here, opacity. I want to bring it, with my eyesight. I want to be able to see stuff. So, okay. So we got that. Now, I don't want to write a headline. I want to take this out altogether, and I want to put in my navigation. So what I'm going to do for that is just, well, let's use the list view, okay? And so for paragraph, I'm just going to remove this. And let's see, all right, but now I want to type in right over here. That's just what I wanted. I just got rid of the paragraph. Well, now it says paragraph, but I want to type in the block that I want to use. And of course, it's slash navigation. Okay, and now it tells me, now I could start all over again. So what I showed you before, how I start up the navigation, I could have just skipped all that. And I could have just come right to here and done it, but that wouldn't have been fair. And it's very easy to get confused between navigation and query loop, which I didn't really have, not going to show unless I get begged to show. But it's very easy to get those confused. You think that those are templates. Those aren't templates. Those are blocks. Okay, so now I got my navigation block, and it says select a menu. Well, I created one before called header navigation. I didn't get a chance to name it. I think there's a way to do it, but it is header navigation. So I click on that, and there it is. Now it's compressed because of this design, because of responsive. But if I save this, okay, so let's take a look. So let's go to home. Oh, it's not working. Well, I'm kidding, of course. The reason why you don't see it is that the template part that I just created, my own template part, has to be attached to the template. Okay, that's the key thing. And that was the thing that, well, what I just told you is worth the price of admission. So here are the different template parts. Let's just start with a regular page. So I'm going to click on that. And this is what the regular page is doing, right? Well, I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is, and I can't, it went disappeared. But I'm going to just click on this. And I am going to click on here. Now you can see the whole block, the header block. And look down over here, it says header, and then it says replace. If you click on replace, oh, there's my work of art. And then all the other header template parts are here, so I can choose from them too. So now you can start to think like, you mean you can create different headers for different pages? And the answer is, that's exactly right. So I'm going to click on this, and now I'm going to save. Okay, and you can see the template's going to be attached to pages, which means if all goes well, when we go see a page like home, we'll see this. Now, I don't like this over here, so I can adjust that. But here's that parallax effect that I was talking about. Okay, so let's go back and adjust this. So a couple ways to do it, but I think, so if I go over here and do it here, it'll only apply for the page. I don't want to do it that way. I want this to apply everywhere. So for that, I'm going to go back to my template part and to the template part. And you can see now the one that I created, it's got my beautiful little face over here. And these others are just, came with the theme. But, so if you had different authors or different creators could come into a site and create their own templates, and they would have their name by it. So anyway, I am going to, I want to edit it. I don't want to delete it. And what I'm going to do is just take this over here. Let's take a look at the navigation block. Okay, and we're going to go over here, and I think I just, I'm going to center it this way. It's kind of hard to tell because, let's see, let's just get rid of list view, and it looks a lot better. And we're almost done. Well, we're not quite almost done, but in case you're wondering, when can I go out and get something to drink? Okay, so now we have it in the center. Okay, and what's really cool about all this is that you now have blocks that will pull information or content dynamically from your site. So if you've got any kind of, all kinds of metadata or the site title or the site logo, all that stuff can be added on, okay, just with blocks. It's really good. All right, now so here's a little issue, and that is, so you say, well, that's good. Let me see if I go over to blog. Let's see. Well, that's not so good. And the reason is I haven't attached the heading, my BK header for that. So I have to change that, as well as if I go into a single post, same thing. So let's fix those up right now. So go over here, go over to templates, and I'm going to go over to single post, and we'll just change the heading right over here. If I'm in the heading, sometimes it's hard to, if you can't get there, you could always use list view, your friend, and then change it over here to replace, and this one, and I'm going to save it. And now I'm going to do the same thing for the index page, which is really the blog archive. And I'm going to click on this over here, same thing. We will now add here, header, and replace here, same thing. It was a rinse and repeat operation. And now if we go look at the site, Okay, how good is that? All right, so black, and the same thing over here for the blog archive page. Okay, now I want to do something else too, and that is I want to add my own unique footer, and I want you to be. I want to draw a distinction. So I created the BK header for our example, but now I'm going to go back to header. And by creating the BK header, you notice I had to attach it to the 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 templates that I'm using. Okay. But now in this one over here for the footer, what I'm going to do is just take this over here, and I am going to remove all this. Remember how everybody says, "Oh God, how do I remove this?" Well, it's kind of easy now. And all I'm going to do is just remove it. You're down over here. Okay. And in this group block, heck, I'm going to just take out the group block too. And I'm now just going to, I'm going to type in columns. Let's see. Hold on a second. Here we go. Columns. I want a 3-column layout, equal distant. Here we go. Okay. And I'm going just to put in here. So I have my 3 in this column over here. I'm going to, so it's kind of weird because, yeah. And this one over here, I'm going to put in a quick little image. Okay. And we'll select from the media library, and I'm not going to go very far for that. And then over here, I am going to just put in some text over here. Oops. Yeah, let's start again there. I don't know why I can't do this here. Okay, and then over here, we're going to just do, actually, yeah, same kind of thing. I'm just going to do. Now, I could pull content dynamically from the database instead of just typing in a paragraph that way I did. But I'm just taking the easy way out here, I guess. And I'm going to save. And here's what I want you to see. So if I go to any page now, yeah, you're going to see at the bottom, you're going to see this footer. I didn't have to attach it. It just was done automatically because that's the way the templates are made. Okay, so by default, each template, whether it's, yeah, it wasn't, I didn't do a custom header. I just took the existing footer and edited it. And if I went to home and so forth, they're all going to have this bottom over here. Okay, couple quick little things to do. Actually, how much, Steve, do I have? 10 minutes more? 15? What do I have?
I
Are
mean,
you still
it's 10
there?
good. Yeah, it's 10
Huh?
good.
10?
Sure.
Okay, well, let's get to the sexiest part first, just to make sure I get it in. Actually, 10 minutes will be fine. Okay, so look at this. So let's say I typed in lorem, okay, and I did a search, and you say, hey, whoa, 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 what happened to your beautiful, well, this is a search results template that you're looking at, which means I better go back over here, and so that's a template, and that's a search results template. Remember, these are going to vary from theme to theme, but most of them are going to always have these, okay? So search, and sure enough, same problem. So I'm going to go into here, and I am going to change the header, replace, put mine in there, and that'll be that. And now you can see, I hope you're getting the idea, like, hey, this is like, whoops, gotta hit it twice. You mean you can design a whole website now with blocks? Yeah, you can. And so you see that, and same thing with this. Let's try one other little thing before I get into the final show here. So let's just say I typed in AAB, and you can, oops, let me just go over here. I'm trying to get you the type in BUD. Okay, and you should get the beautiful 404. Okay, so that's a 404 error page, right? Well, there's a template for that. So let's get into that right now. And 404 error page, same thing. And we'll do one last time, I promise. We'll do this over here, and then we'll just do a replace. And again, you can choose, you can start to see, oh, I can really customize headers based on the template or based on the page that I'm on. Yes. And that's that. Okay. And we're done. All right, last thing. So let's go to the blog and let's go to the blog. Okay. And you can see this is your, I mean, you know, I don't know if it's a Rorschach, it's not Rorschach, but whatever it is, it's like a kid scribbling with crayon. That's the idea. Anyway, maybe I want to have the old, remember the old-fashioned web pages with sidebars? Well, how do I do that? So I figured that out recently, and it's pretty cool. So you go over here to templates, and they have this very interesting one called blank. So I clicked on blank, and notice what it says over here, post content. So all the content that you create for that post is represented by that word post content. Now, the typical thing that you're going to do when you're starting out, you're going to do this. Okay, you're going to look at this and you're going to go, oh, I know, I'm going to just go edit post. Because all you're seeing is the post content. This is the post content, okay? Or if there was an image, same thing, post content. So there's nowhere here to change the template, not yet. Now, maybe that's coming. Actually, that's not true. Oh, I don't want to say that. But there's nowhere here to design the template, okay? That has to be done back over here. So I'm over here, and what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go to I want to add, let's say, a 2-column layout. Okay, 2 columns, and we can do, let's do something like this, where you have a sidebar on the right-hand side. Okay, so what I want to do is just take the post content, and you can pretty much figure what I'm going to do. And here is the post content that's on top, and I'm going to drag it right into that first column. That was in the second column, so let's make sure you get it into, sometimes it could be a little stubborn, huh? Let's see, maybe I can, yeah, it's really stubborn. Here, perfect. Okay, now, by the way, notice when you're working with columns, the columns block is, you know, columns, but then internally inside the columns block, there are these column blocks. Okay, I hate the way they use these words, but it is what it is. All right, so the post content is going to be over here. And now on the right-hand side, I'm just going to pretend I have widgets, because I do. And I'm going to say a calendar. And then right below that, slash, and I'm going to type in calendar. Okay, like you see on a typical blog, right? And then right down over here, let's see, insert after. I think this is not going to work, but if it doesn't, let's just see. Oh, well, we'll see. Heading. Now you see it's over here. That's okay. Let's just put it in over here. You'll see what I'm going to do in a second. I like to make mistakes. Okay, calendar, and let's just do recent. No. Yeah, recent posts, recent comments. And then below that, I'm going to type in recent comments. It's all called last comments. Okay, now you can see, though, that I'm outside the column. So I'm just going to drag this into the column. Try to anyway. Or I can pick it up over here. Let's see if I can drag it in. There you go. Okay, and the same thing with this over here. Actually, I have to pick this up and put it in over here. Perfect. And now I'm going to save this. Okay, so I just made a template for the individual blog post. Let's see how this works. So I'm going to go over here, and we're going to, let's say, preview. No, let's just go over here. And I'm going to refresh. So it should be perfect, right? So go to blog, go to here. Hey, that's not exactly what I had in mind. Well, why is that? Well, here's where you have to go. This is the last part, which is you need to go to this page. And this has been around forever, but now there's a big change. So you go to post over here. Now, you couldn't, before, unless you knew PHP or some kind of coding, you couldn't, usually it's PHP, with the classic themes, you couldn't create your own templates, but I just did. And now this is called blank. I could have renamed this, but I'm not going to. I'll save a little time. And I'll just use blank, and I'll click on this. So I switch templates, and if I change this now, look at that. Now you might say, hey, what about the post title? Not a problem. Let's go over here into our template, and let's go insert. Let's see. Yeah, I can insert before, and I'm almost done. Insert before, and we're going to type in / post. So you have all these, see all these over here? I'm just going to point this out. These are all dynamically pulled from the database. Post title, post content, because you're creating them when you're creating your posts. So here, post title, nice. Save it. Okay. And I'm going to go over here, and now you'll have the post title. Now, why don't I have the post? There it is, post title. Now, what happened to my, Oh, because, now the reason why, I'm not going to fix this, but because in the blank, I am going to fix it. What the heck? This is my, and so the reason why is because I don't have my header in this template. So how do I do that? Let's do insert before, and let's slash header, and make sure you understand the difference between headers and heading. They're not the same thing. Why don't you choose an existing, and here it is, and now we'll be good. So now whenever I use this template for my blog posts, I'll have, yeah, there we go. I'll have that. And that's it. Ta-da! Any reactions? Because like when I see this stuff, I think this is not my father's WordPress. Because I remember, and Steve, I'm sure you do too, I did a very early presentation on Gutenberg blocks when it was just a theory almost, not even a reality. And in 3 years, it's come a long way. It has work to do. It is not done, but the outlines of how the whole thing works as a web design system is now in place. All right, any questions?
All right. So first off, I love, there's a lot of Gutenberg tutorials out there and a lot of videos. Everyone's doing them, but
right.
I love this sidebar hack. Was awesome. I haven't seen it, and I think that was a really nice trick. So great job.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I sort of, I don't know. Yeah, I know there's a lot of stuff out there on this stuff. Believe me, I know.
So Jack Kleinfeld actually has 2 questions for you. Okay. The first one was, he says that when you're selecting blocks, if you go back to the block editor, there's a dot on the block list. I don't know what that means. So edit a page and just add a block. Maybe he can. And Jack, if you want to unmute and clarify, I think.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't on this page. It was in the template list and the template parts list.
Got it. Let me get there.
Template parts. Right column had some of the circles had
template parts.
Yeah. So block base. No. On right there. That one has, some of them had dots, some of them didn't. I just wasn't sure what it meant.
I think it might be. I don't know, but my hunch is that it's being used. Yeah, these are not being used. That's exactly it.
Okay,
because I like that. Thanks. I didn't know.
It's not on the BK header one though, which is
I know, it's interesting, and I am using it. Well, see, those are the kinds of things that will get cleaned up over time. But it certainly looks like if we go over to the templates themselves, yeah, you can see. And by the way, as you work with the templates, this order will change based on the one that you most recently used. And it changed over time. See, blank, 404, so forth. If we go down to footer only, if you want a page with just a footer, this was what you would use. These are not being used. So all the ones with the dots are being used. That's cool. Thanks. I wasn't really aware of that.
Thank you.
Jack also asked, and actually I was going to ask too, where you were assigning the header and the footer to one page template at a time. Is there a way to just say use this header universally everywhere, 404s and search pages and everything?
I can't find that yet. Okay, but one thing you could do, a little time saver that I do want to point out now that you mentioned it, because I was thinking about that too. It's like, wait a minute, this is tedious. So I can ask my buddies who know this stuff better than I do. What you can do, like if you go over here to post, one thing to save yourself some time, you can always go to bulk, edit, apply. And if you want to change your template, okay, here's how you can change all your templates at one time. So if you wanted all to have sidebars at once, you would just use this blank one over here. Okay, so that's a time saver. All right. Anything else? I'm just curious what people think of Gutenberg and where things are now.
Any other questions? Any comments? Anybody want to give an opinion on Gutenberg?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Confusing. It sucks. It's great. It's, I kind of think it's still a little on the confusing side, quite frankly. There's a lot that you have to know just to get to. There's too much, I think, that you have to know to do what I just did. That's my opinion.
Yeah. All right, Jack thinks it's interesting. I think it's interesting too, and this is the first version of full site editing, right? It's only going to get better.
Correct. Yeah, and the kinds of things that you're saying, like, hey, if you have your own footer, if you built your own header, can't you just attach it to all the templates at once? I have to ask Ann McCarthy. She's the guru and all this stuff, and she'll tell me the answer. I don't see it, but no, that's the kind of like enhancement that you could look forward to if it's not there already. If it is there already, how come I don't know it?
Right.
The other side, the other thing too, though, you have to, and I'm sure people here probably know this, is that if you saw what this looked like 6 months ago, it's remarkable what it is from 6 months ago to now. It was ridiculous, I mean, the only thing that kind of worked was the query loop block. After that, it was like nothing worked. Template parts. It was sort of a mess. So it has gotten. Remember, themes are still designating that the full site editing is beta, and I think it's going to stay that way for a little while. But we'll get out of the beta phase. That's for sure.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing too, I didn't show, and I'm not going to show it, but in case you're interested in making your own templates with code, with block-based themes, it's all in HTML. It's incredible that the templates and template part files are essentially, I call it WP HTML. That is the WordPress version of HTML, the Gutenberg version of HTML. It's really cool. I have not dived at all into that, but I looked at it the other day and go, holy smokes, I think I could do this, which just really opens up a whole universe for people who, sort of low coders who will be able to create their own themes. Fantastic.